Hello and welcome. Today is 10th of March 2023, and we are going to see a short game by Mikhail. A very interesting game, a very short game, and one in which we see how very small mistakes can be exploited with a tactical awareness. Okay, so white is Mikhail and he starts the game with g3. His opponent Wolfgang Uhlmann, one of the top German player of the 70s, starts with d5. Bishop g2. So this is the fianchetto opening. White develops the bishop to put some pressure on the queen side and restrict the development of the black's queen sides. Like nf6 and c4, a very logical move, trying to increase the range of the bishop by attacking or challenging the pawn on d5, which is blocking it. Black takes it. There are other ways to handle. Black can play this pawn or this pawn supporting the pawn on d5 and planning to replace it with another pawn. So let us say this, and still the obstruction of the bishop holds good. Okay, so that is another game. So in this game, it's a blitz game. Uhlmann takes with the pawn. Tal plays nf3, nbd7, and castles. And black plays a6. Tal replies na3. Now, if black tries to save the pawn by playing b5, it can turn out to be pretty bad immediately because of nd4, and the power of the bishop on g2 is unleashed. And if the rook moves away, knight c6 wins the game immediately by trapping the black queen. Okay, so it can be pretty dangerous. So black does want to do b5, but cannot do right now because of this tactical finesse. So black plays c5, increasing his control of the center. Knight into c4 and e6. Tal strikes with d4, fighting for the center, because right now the d4 square was under control of the c5 pawn, and if black chooses to take, white has the right to place a piece on the center. And as we know, the pieces when placed in the center have the maximum range and are the best place. Okay, so now at this moment, there are multiple ways to continue, but maybe the best would be bishop e7 and just planning to castle. Uhlmann makes a small inaccuracy. Now, it is interesting to note that, inaccuracies by black are much more dangerous than inaccuracies by white, because, black is already half a move behind. So any error can further complicate the defensive task or can even prove to be disastrous. While a small error by white can only kind of equalize the game and have white lose that half move edge which he starts the game with. Okay, so inaccuracies by white and black are very different in nature. Okay, so rook b8. Now, rook b8 is a move which is very logical actually. So black has this desire to move the rook out of this diagonal, but then there is something called timing also. So you have some moves which you want to play or moves which need to be played, but there has to be an optimum time for that also. So in this case, Uhlmann unfortunately chooses the wrong time, and Tal immediately jumps ahead with bishop f4, which is a very powerful tempo move. White develops the bishop while attacking the rook on b8, and which has to be moved. Now, already white is a bit ahead in development, and black is at least 2 moves away from castling. So when you have a development advantage, the logical way to go about the game is opening up the center and try to get into a direct conflict with the opponent because you have a better development. So Tal does that with d into c5. Knight into c5 takes the queen, because now it is very interesting. A lot of times when we have advantage, development advantage, you want to keep the queen so that you can do a direct attack. But here Tal recognizes a very interesting tactical resource and goes ahead with the exchange of the queen. So king into d8, rook f to d1. Black defends with knight f to d7. And now this unfortunate rook, which tried to develop itself, find itself trapped. So Tal played knight b6, rook comes to a7, and a very interesting position, bishop b8, and white wins the game because the rook is trapped, there's no way to save. So a very spectacular position, a very interesting position, and one which shows how only direct attacks on the king are not the part of the game, but also these small tactical nuances, particularly in this case, which ended up white trapping a whole rook in a very interesting continuation. So I hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.